everybody, how are y'all doing tonight? It has been an exciting day here. Noah and Shay are here with the two boys. I have both dogs. Can y'all see them? Ember and Bear playing behind me. You know, one's 7 pounds and one is like 70 pounds. And they are probably getting ready to go crazy behind me because they're so happy to see each other. So Noah and Shay have gone to Maymont for the glow event or whatever that is. And I am surprising them because when they left, I started, what y'all been waiting for? Lori's famous chicken and dumplings. The time has finally come. Everybody's been asking me, make your dumplings, make your dumplings. So tonight is the night and I'm feeling all right. Okay, so I have a whole chicken going in the pan over here with kind of like I'm making a stock. So I have like 3 carrots in here. I have 3 stalks of celery. I have 2 onions. I put some salt and pepper and the whole chicken. And I've got it boiling. And it'll boil until it kind of starts to fall off the bone. Probably, I don't know, 40 minutes, something like that. I'll try to let y'all know how long it took. But, I mean, you can tell because the little eggs start falling off. So let's just say 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, so that's a good time. So I have 1 full box of Food Lion all-purpose baking mix. I don't really like Bisquick. I like Food Lion. It's got buttermilk. The original Bisquick doesn't. I think you can buy a buttermilk one, but I never see it. But I just like Food Lion. I like Food Lion brand. So we use a whole box, which is 4 times. If y'all look at the recipes on the back, you have rolled biscuits and dumplings. I like to make the biscuit recipe and not the dumpling recipe because their dumplings are a little bit different kind. It's kind of like the kind you just drop spoonfuls in the stew, and I don't like that. I like to make more like biscuits, roll it out like I need it like 30 times. And I will get to there, but I need it a long time because I want them tough so when they hit the water, they don't fall all apart. Roll them out pretty thin. We cut them in strips, break them up, and put them in there after we've taken the chicken out and all that kind of thing. So I just wanted to come on and get this started. My chicken has only been boiling for about maybe 10 minutes. So I don't want to make my dumplings before then because they stick together and all that kind of thing. So once the chicken has cooked for the 40 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and I usually take like a 9x13 pan and I just get my chicken out and I get all of the vegetables that I've cooked it in out. So then all I'm left with is broth in the pan. And I set my chicken over to the side to start cooling off. While that's cooling off, that is when I make my dumplings. So once I get my dumplings rolled out, and it usually takes a couple of kind of batches, but then I get them into the stew to start cooking. That's when I pull my chicken off the bone and get it ready, because once the dumplings have cooked, and they'll cook for maybe, you know, I mean, they're kind of cooking while I'm adding them all in because it's 4 times the normal recipe. But they usually cook somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes. And then once they're done, I just put all the chicken right on top. Give it a tiny stir because you don't want to stir it a lot and break all those dumplings up. But we give it a little bit of stir and then they're ready to eat. So once we get that cooked and out, then I'll come back and show you how we do the dumplings. All right, chicken is done. We're about to get that out the pot. And after we get this out the pot, then we'll get going with the good stuff. So just be as careful as you can to get him out. Boom. Then I have one of these little spider, kind of like a spider ladle. And I just get all these vegetables and like the little chicken wing tips came off in here. So I just scoop out all these little things till I got it all. That's all you do, folks. Get it all out of here. And then you have to kind of judge your water. I know I'm going to need to put some more in here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of chicken broth because I don't want to water this down. Although I did put salt and pepper in here, and I put 8 Herb Ox chicken bouillon cubes. Y'all know that's the only bouillon that I use is Herb Ox because it has no MSG. And I do not like MSG, and it does not like me. I get all bloated up with it. It's not a good thing. So this chicken is just, I mean, it's cooked down to it's just falling off the bone. So I'm turning my little pot a little bit just to make sure I got all the little goodies scooped out of here and get it down here in the corners and everything. Look, if it's, look, there's a bone down in there, so you gotta just make sure it's a little wing bone. Just scoop it around, make sure you got everything out. Look, there was one more little baby carrot in there. Okay? Then I'm gonna just sit this, I'm gonna probably just leave it right there. Oop, a little carrot got away. So my water is only up about 1/4 of a way in here, and that's just not enough. So I'm gonna run over here and grab me a little chicken broth. Hold up. What you doing in your crate, baby girl? What you doing in your crate? All right. I got 1 quart of chicken broth. We're going to see where that comes up to in here and see if I like the way it looks, because when I put all these dumplings in here, I got to have enough water that they're going to have room for all of these to cook in here. So that's a little bit better. I might just add a little bit more water in there and a couple. I'm going to give it a little taste, right? And I'm going to see what I think for the taste and see if I want to put a little bit of salt, or if I want to put, because I did put about, I'll say probably a tablespoon of salt in here when I was making the chicken broth. Tablespoon of salt, my onions, my carrots, my celery, the 8 Herb Ox bouillon cubes. Now I've put 1 quart of chicken broth in here. And we're going to give it a taste. Now it's about halfway up, so that's better. This pot is big and wide. I like to use this for dumplings because as I'm adding a bunch of dumplings in, it gives them some room to play nice together. So you always, as a cook, you've got to be able to taste your food as you go. Tastes pretty darn good. I think we are perfect right there. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to pause y'all for just a minute. I got to get my milk out the refrigerator. I got to heat my butter. I'll spin you around and we'll get these dumplings going. All right, I want to show y'all one thing before I get the dumplings going, because I want everything prepared and ready when I put that liquid in those dumplings. So this is just a little bit sifter. And I put this on my cookie sheet, and this is what I lay the cut dumplings on to take over to my pot. Now, I like to put flour all over the bottom of this pan, so when I put my dumplings, they don't stick, because if they start sticking, it's harder to get them off and get them in the pot. So I put the flour on, and you'll see, too, that I put flour on each kind of layer, because I don't want them sticking together, and the flour helps to thicken my broth. Now, I've sanitized this counter. Make sure, if you guys are rolling out on a counter like I do, that you sanitize it really good before you start rolling out, because you don't want some dumplings and you know, who knows what's going on this counter. So make sure you sanitize it really well. And then again, this is what I'm doing. I'm just sprinkling this. Y'all probably can't see because I'm standing in front of the camera. But I get this coated really good. And then right in the middle, I'm going to put extra, because that's where I'm going to come in and I'm going to knead my dough right there. So I'm going to pause you again while I get my butter going and my milk. And then we'll spin around. All right. So we've got our whole box of Food Lion baking mix in here. Okay, I'm making a well in the middle because that's where I want to dump all my goodies. Okay, So it's 2 2/3 cup of milk for this entire recipe or entire box. Look, if you're alone or you don't have many people, I'm going to be sending, we'll eat on this tonight, and I'm going to be sending the leftovers home with Noah and Shay. So I'm making a lot. But you just can go by the biscuit recipe on the back of the Food Lion Bacon Mix box. So I've got my 2 2/3 cup of milk in here. And now I've got 12 tablespoons of butter, which is a stick and a half. It's 3 tablespoons per batch, okay? And it's 2/3 of a cup of milk. 2 cups of bacon mix, 2/3 cup of milk, and 3 tablespoons of butter per batch. I'm 4 times the batch. That's how much is in a box. 4 times the recipe. All right. Sorry about it. I'll put all this away. I don't want my milk sitting out. Okay. Then we're just going to give this a good stir in here. And this bowl, I usually do use a great big bowl because this is half what I usually do. When I make chicken and dumplings, I make usually 2 pots at a time, and I use 2 complete boxes of that baking mix because it's usually, we have a big family. You know, we got 6 kids and 10 grandkids, so I usually make enough. I usually make chicken and dumplings when when I know family's coming over. I don't make this just for me and my husband. I make it because the kids love it so much. It's what I make when we're all getting together. So we all eat on it, and then I send them all home with 1 quart or 2 quarts apiece. That's usually how I make it. Some friends of ours had a young couple got married last October. They just had their first wedding anniversary. I want to say it was Tuesday, I think. But anyway, I catered their wedding, and I made chicken and dumplings for 100 people for their wedding. A taco bar and chicken and dumplings. That's what they wanted. My chicken and dumplings and a taco bar. So that's what I made for their wedding. So we just are mixing this up. It's a good stiff dough. Sorry, that's Ember. She hears my bowl banging, and she barks at every little sound. That sweet little yacker. She is half Chihuahua and half Jack Russell. So she was a rescue dog for Noah and Shay. They've had her for, I don't know, 4, 5 years, something like that. All right, so this is about where we want it. Can y'all kind of see? It's like biscuit dough, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause you and spin you over. Take this over there. I'll be right. All right, I know this isn't the best view. I've got you on a short tripod, but I wanted y'all to be able to see the counter and see what I'm doing. So I just take about half of this dough, and I put it right in the middle where I put all that flour. And we're going to work with half of this at a time because that's all the counter space I got. All right. So here's what we do. Now look, once I start this, I'm hardly not going to be able to stop because I'm going to have dough and mess all over my hands. So I give that a good sprinkle on top of flour, and I start kneading it. So all I'm doing is patting, and then I roll it over and push it. Roll it over and push it. Okay, and if the bottom, like underneath, if it starts getting dry and you notice it's kind of sticking, then you just put you a little bit more flour down there. And I'm kind of counting here because I go to about 30. I spin it and I push it. I spin it and I push it. Y'all don't know how to knead. Now, I'm sure most of you do, but just in case I have some new cooks that have never done this, you just give it a little spin and a little push. Spin and push. See, I put a little bit more. 28, 29, 30. Good enough. Close enough. All right, Ember, chill. sorry. All right, so then I just try to take it in my hand and just kind of flatten it out as much as I can in my hand, because when I start to roll it, it's just easier if I've gotten it a little bit flatter. All right, here we go, folks. Get this nice pamper chef roll again. I rolled it in the flour a little bit. And I just keep on working it until I get it thin. Make sure you've got the flour underneath this now, because you don't want it sticking to your counter. You just have to work. Look, if y'all got a big rolling pin, go for it. I do too. I got about 5 rolling pins, but to me, this little rolling pin is just easier. I like it because I don't have much space to work with. If I had a great big, you know, island, and I was rolling this thing out on a big old island, I might use my big one. But I don't have that, so I use what's easiest and most convenient for me. And this would be that. Can't believe I'm sharing the secret of my dumplings. For y'all that don't live around here and don't know me, I already shared my chicken salad recipe with you. There's a couple things that I'm kind of known for. And it's my chicken and dumplings and my chicken salad. I don't know why, but it is what it is. So, I might have told y'all this before, but maybe there's new people that haven't heard it. For, you know, we have our traditional Thanksgiving dinner. Turkey, and my husband doesn't really like turkey, and I'm not a huge turkey fan, so I'll cook some other kind of meat, like maybe smoke a brisket or something. But for Christmas, we don't want to have Thanksgiving food type again. We don't want that big old meal that we just had. So we have some really, really good appetizers for Christmas. And the other thing is, our families have other places to go on Christmas, not just here. And I never wanted to be that mom that put pressure on them to come here, okay? So what we do is I fix 2 pots of chicken and dumplings, and I fix 2 pots of Brunswick stew for Christmas. 1 pot of each we eat, and the other pots I put in quart containers and I send home with them. But that way, no matter what time they come, they can grab some appetizers as they're coming in. We have lots of desserts too. But they can also just grab a bowl of soup at any time, and nobody feels pressured to sit down at the family dinner table for Christmas. So I just say, whenever y'all come, come. Food's ready. Food's on. So I use a pizza cutter just because to me it's easier. So, you know, just cut them into little squares. What are they, about, I don't know, look. See how thick it is? I don't know, what is that, 1/8 of an inch? So that's the kind of the way you want it. And I just get my little pan over here and set it across my sink. Now, what the other thing that I do before I take these off is I get my little sifter thing here, and I just lightly dust the top of this with flour, because I'm going to be stacking on here, and I don't want the bottom layer, the next layer, sticking to the bottom layer. So I just give it a little sprinkle, and again, it helps to thicken up the broth. And that's the way we like it. We don't like a real thin broth. We like it thick. I don't know how y'all eat y'all's dumplings, but this is how we eat our dumplings. And y'all see I'm just grabbing some up in my hand like this, and then I just kind of lay them out. What the hell, a piece of something. All right. Okay. See, and I can feel a little bit of sticky on the bottom. You can see there's no, well, you can't see it, but I can see there's kind of no flour under there now because I rolled it out and it kind of pushed it and worked it into the dough. So I spread these out as much as I can because I really don't want them sticking together. Okay, and we just grabbing them up and laying them out. People grab them up and lay them out. I hope Shay and Noah don't get home early. Although it is 7:53, they said they'd probably be back around 8 o'clock because the boys going to be worn out. They came here from Pennsylvania today, got here about 3, and now they've gone to Maymont, and because it's kind of rough terrain, they can't be in their strollers or their wagon or any of that. They're walking around. And these kids usually go to bed somewhere around 7:30. So they're already up late. They're tired from their trip. They've been playing hard. 2 of my granddaughters were here when they got here. And so these boys are going to be tired. So I know they're not going to keep them out late. So I'm afraid that they may come in and see me in the middle, but it'll be all right because it'll give them time to get the boys cleaned up, pajamas on, and ready for bed. And by the time they do all that, the dumplings will be ready. So even if they get here a little bit early, it's not the end of the world. They'll still love it, whether it's ready and a surprise or whether it's almost ready and a surprise. Because they had no idea. I snuck this one in on them. Alright, about to get it all. We don't want to leave no goodies in there, right? Okay, so I always like to pat my hands with a little flour because I really don't like to get stuff all on my hands. Y'all know that. That's why I wear gloves all the time. I'm one of those kind of clean type people. Alright, so sprinkle this a little bit just like we did the other one. And that keeps it from sticking to your hands too when you are just working with flour and not the sticky part. 3, 4, 5, 6, y'all count with me, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, halfway there, 17, 18, 19, 20. I don't know why I do it 30 times, just do 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. All right. Let's get our flour back over here. All right. Let's try to flatten this one out again as much as we can. I don't know how to do the pizza thing, but it had pizza dough, so there's no yeast. It wouldn't be stretchy. This is a biscuit dough. Now, you would not be working biscuit dough like this because it'd be so tough you couldn't eat it. But when you work it like that with this, it keeps it from falling apart in your pan. Don't nobody want no dumplings all falling apart, and then you got a big old pot of mush. Nobody wants any mush. You want full dumplings. And my family, I don't know why, maybe it's just because they kind of always had it, but they like their dumplings a little bit tough. And I don't want to say they're tough. They're not tough. But they're not the kind that you would drop by a spoon where they get big and almost fluffy like a biscuit and they're kind of sitting on top of the soup, if that's the kind you've had. We like ours to just be mixed in there and be a little more firm. I shouldn't say tough. I should say a little more firm. This would be easier for tall people, but I'm so short it's like I have to lift my arm up. But I'm used to being short. I've been that way my whole life, y'all. I say I didn't shrink, but actually I am shrinking. I think I've shrunk almost an inch. I used to be 5'2". I'm pretty sure if I measured, I'd be about 5'1", close to it. I don't know why it is, but God made us that way, and I'm not going to question him. Because he's pretty smart. I'm not going to question the good Lord. He did things the way he did them for a reason, and it is not my job to question him. It is my job to love him and obey him. And if he wanted me to be short, That's what he wanted for a reason. They do say the best things come in small packages. Ah! Alright. Cutting these babies up. So I've got the lid on my pot over there to keep my water good and hot. You want it to be like a slow boil. You don't want it to be a big rolling boil because it make your dumplings fall apart. So you just want it to be kind of a simmering. Oh, let me put a little flour on top. You just want it to be kind of a little simmering boil. Simmer. I don't know if I hear the car or not out there. I could be hearing my husband's television. He's been working outside all day, and he's probably in his recliner getting ready to take a little snooze for a minute and rest his eyes. He usually takes a nap in the afternoon, but we had a lot going on, and he does some little car flipping or whatever, and he had a guy out here detailing one of the cars for him today, and he was out there, and he's trying to redo his garage. It's not been redone since our kids lived here, and he's kind of dejunked it and got everything out and about got it cleaned out like he wants, but now he wants to put up some little shelves and things and just get the garage the way he wants it instead of the way our kids had it, which, you know, they're kids. They were kids. They're grown men, but, you know, kids sometimes have a little messy. So, anyway, all right, look, not too bad, right? Because I kept that flour on there, okay? So now what I need to do is I need to pause you guys. I'm going to put you back on my big tripod and put you over there so you can see me while I'm putting this into the pot. Be right back. If I can turn it off. All right, so it's not a rolling boil. It is hot, but there is some of that chicken fat from the chicken that's kind of floating on the top. So while it's floating on the top, I'm just going to come in here and try to skim a little of it off. What my mom used to do, and it was delicious, and my mom makes yummy chicken and dumplings too, but my mom used to take her dumplings and like chill them in it, take her juice or whatever and chill it, or take this, I'm sorry, she'd take the fat off like I'm doing, but she'd put it in a bowl. And she made homemade dumplings. She didn't use a baking mix. You know, she just used flour and baking powder, whatever, all that, and make her own. But she, instead of using like Crisco or something like that in her biscuit dough, she would take this fat and get it cold. And that chicken fat is what was in her dumplings. So her dumplings would be really flavorful with the chicken fat. And I don't know, she might have had to, you know, add a little bit more shortening to it. But basically, it had that good flavor. I don't do that because I use the Food Line biscuit mix. But, you know, people cook different nowadays than they used to because people do faster things. All right, that's about all I'm going to do with that. We're going to crank this up to high real quick to get it boiling again. We'll pull that chicken off the bone in just a minute. We're not going to fool with that right now. But the other thing I'm going to do, y'all probably can't see it, but I take my, what do you call it? The pastry cutter thing. And that's how I clean my counter. Okay, I just scrape all this flour that I can with the pastry cutter. And that helps me clean up this mess. And it's not a big deal when you do this because it can get like right here in a little crack where my sink sits into my counter. And this little pastry cutter comes right in here. And any of that flour that kind of stuck to my counter, this thing just gets it right off. And then we're able to take this. And look, my counter is almost clean, y'all. That's all there is to it. Put this right in the garbage can. And she's starting to boil a little bit. And then we just come right around here and get our cabinet wiped down a little bit. while all that's going on in the pan, we'll do a little cleaning up, because this is where I'm going to come over here to pull that chicken off the bone. But I don't want to set it in all this flour, so I have to clean up. And y'all know me, I clean as I go. All right, our broth is boiling pretty good. I'm going to turn it down a little bit, because I don't want it to do a full rolling boil. I just want it to do a simmer. Alright, so I'll finish this. It's really about finished. And then tonight, when I clean my kitchen for the last time, I have some little spray to spray on here and sanitize it. But right now, all I need to do is just get the kind of the mess up, wipe it down. So we're done. That's all cleaned up. I take my little bowl right here, and I just come in here now and I just fill this up with hot water. I don't put any soap in there right now, just because I'm going to let that dough kind of soak off of that bowl while we're doing this. So we're going to turn this down a little bit right here. I'm going to get my little dumplings over here. You see, we got our pan, and I'm going to sit right here on my cutting board. I know y'all can't see that, but it'll be all right, people. It'll be all right. All right. This bowl filled up, and we're going to get to it. Thank y'all for bearing with me while I clean as I go. But when you got a little kitchen and you need the space for other things, you just got to do what you got to do. Okay? So, let me see if I can let y'all see this. I feel like y'all need to see what I mean by a slow boil. Sorry to give you the good night. See how it's just barely boiling? It's not a full rolling boil. It's just simmering. That's what you want. That's what we want, people. All right. Sorry for the fingers again. I don't know how to hold my phone and get it wedged in that stand. All right. Now, when we start putting these in, it's going to not be boiling as much because this cold is going to do it. So I just take 2 hands and I just start dropping them in. Now in a minute my pot's going to get crowded, and I'm going to have to use my spoon a little bit to kind of make holes, and then use 1 hand to put my dumplings in. But right now I can kind of 2-hand it until my pot gets full. Now I see that this my liquid is getting too cool. I'm going to turn my heat back up for a minute. It's kind of a little dance you have to play, because you want it to continue to boil a little bit. So I'll just watch it. So I'm turning it up, and if it starts boiling too hard, I just turn it back down. This pan, see, is thinner than y'all see me use my cast iron skillet. So it adjusts to the heat quick when I'm doing that, where my cast iron, it takes it a minute. When it gets hot, you basically have to turn the burner off or take it off the burner. All right, so now there's a layer of these dumplings right here. I sure wish y'all could see in here. Dang it. All right, see how there's a layer right there? So now what I do is I just take my spoon and I just kind of make a little hole like this. And as I'm making a hole, I drop another one in. I drop another one in, drop another one in. And then I come around this way and I make a hole on this side. And I drop a few in there. I come back here and I make a hole and I drop a few in. I can't drop them in, y'all, because I'm holding this. But I want y'all to see. I go around the pot as I'm dropping them in. Make a hole, drop a couple. Make a hole, drop a couple. All right, that's what I'm getting ready to be doing. I got to hurry up because I don't want them to cook as the other ones are going in. Okay. Did I turn the camera? I guess I did. Good night. All right, people. Here's what we do. Now that y'all have seen how I do it, I just make these little holes with this spoon, and I just start dropping them in these little holes. Okay. We keep on dropping. Make a little hole, and then sometimes just take the back of your spoon very easy and push some of those dumplings down in there so they get covered with the liquid. And don't go stirring it, don't press hard. The back of the spoon, very easy. Make sure you're not using a slotted spoon because it'll break them apart. Try to use a big spoon like this that's kind of rounded on the back to help you push these things around without tearing them apart. Okay. Y'all feeling me? Y'all can do this, right? It's not hard. This is easy. It takes a minute because you gotta, you know, cook the chicken and then you gotta pull the chicken. But this is easy, people. Easy. And I done showed y'all all my secrets, all the ingredients I use. You know, the other reason I like the Food Lion brand is because it's the only one that tells you to add melted butter. And that melted butter in these dumplings just kicks it up. Now, y'all saw that I used milk, right? Because this already has buttermilk in the mix. But I would prefer to also use buttermilk and not regular milk when I make this. However, this morning when I was bringing my grandbaby's chocolate milk from downstairs refrigerator, because I can't keep it up here because my husband loves it and he would have drank it all. So I was pulling out and checking the dates on my milk and my buttermilk, and I looked at my buttermilk. I hadn't used it lately, and it was dated October the 12th. Now, sometimes buttermilk lasts longer than what it says. Regular milk doesn't. It basically, when it says it's done, it's usually done. But sometimes buttermilk can go a little bit, but it was chunky. I couldn't use it, and I really did not feel like going to the store, and they are just as good with regular milk. Well, I wouldn't say just, they're just not the extraordinary dumplings that buttermilk gives them. But they're good dumplings. It's what I'm known for, dumplings, because I don't always use the buttermilk, okay? So now this pan is getting full. It's getting harder to find spots, but you just have to find a spot, and then you might have to help push him down in there a little bit because he's wanting to just sit on the top. So just kind of easily take your spoon and help him get down into the liquid so he can cook, because that's what's happening. These things are cooking in that liquid, so they gotta get down in there to be able to do that. So see, right now I've got this on medium high, but in a minute these things are going to start really to boil because there's no more cold dough going in. And then if it starts boiling, they're going to get foam. Sometimes you have to pull this off the burner really quick, because once it starts bubbling, if you see foam coming up in your pot, you need to move it off the burner because it will boil over in a second, folks. And you don't want that happening, okay? You do not want the chicken dumplings boiling over. So right now, they're just kind of in there cooking in the liquid. All right, I'm going to bring your phone back over here and let y'all see what's happening in the pot. Let me get this little bit of mess up here. All right, here we go. Bring you back over. Sorry for my finger again. I guess I forget what, I don't know. So see right there, see that little bit of foam right there? It don't take it but a second to foam up and run over. So I just helped this along a little bit. See, I'm just barely pushing down. I'm getting all these down in there because you don't want, see how that one's a little bit brown on the top? It's because air's hitting it. All right, so I just want to push these in there a little bit. Now, in a minute, I'm going to leave them alone, and then I'll come back in a few minutes, and we'll push it down again. Okay? See that little green right there? That's just a little piece of celery that I had in there. It's going to just be delicious. It doesn't matter. All right, can you see that foam starting to come up? That's all that flour. You know, that flour it has like baking powder and stuff in it, in that baking mix. So that's what's going on in there. It's starting to, am I boring y'all? Do y'all not want to see this? I hope y'all do, because I hope this close up like this and the way I've shown you every step will make y'all more comfortable and confident in trying to do this yourself. See where my burner's turned up? See how far it is turned up that I'm cooking it? But you see, all right, I don't know if y'all can see it starting to rise to the very edge of this pot. All right, watch. See how fast that's coming up right there? Look, it's about to run over. Okay? That's what I said. It's not going to take it but a second to boil over. So we're going to turn that heat down. I'm going to pull it off here real quick for a minute. You see all that foam? You got to watch it close, people. It'll calm down here in a minute. It's just the activation of all that baking powder and stuff in there. So it'll calm down. It won't continue to foam like that. It just does it as the liquids is really starting to heat back up from those cold dumplings. And y'all see how I'm just easily, I'm not stirring this, I'm just pushing them down with the back of this spoon. Okay? We're going to put our pot back on the burner again now. And she'll start to calm down because, see, I turned my burner back, I turned my little burner back down. About, I don't know, around medium, something like that. So they're going to cook here for, you know, about 10 minutes or so because they've been cooking. So I guess the whole time since they're in the pot, it's probably about 20 minutes. But now that they're in here like this cooking, it's going to be about 10 more minutes. And what I do is now I take my chicken over and I start picking my chicken. But what I do is I keep coming over here and watching my pot to make sure that, one, it's not foaming and it's not about to run over. And so I can occasionally put these little dumplings. But do you see how I mean by it? We like them a little bit kind of tough, or I don't know what you call it, firm. Now sometimes if I see a couple like this that's stuck together, I might take my spoon and try to separate them a little bit. Sometimes just kind of like the little boiling process will separate them. But that kind of, see how that one's right there is like kind of stuck to the other one? See, it's kind of fat. So these, I'll try to just take my little spoon in there a little bit and separate it. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But like this one, see how that one's like, right there is like 3 of them stuck together. I come in here a little bit and just try to separate them without tearing them completely apart. Sometimes you just wiggle it on down in there. Alright, are y'all kind of good with that now? Y'all see the process, and you just, you know, you got to tend to it a little bit. It's not hard, just tend to it. Y'all know what I mean by tending to it. Dumping them down in here. Separating them if you see them full with your little spoon. Making sure, like right now, my spoon's scraping the bottom. There's no dumplings down there. They're floating. I wiggle. I'm not stirring. I'm not breaking up dumplings. But I'm just making sure there's none down there on the bottom that's going to stick to the pan. Okay? So they're looking pretty good. I'm going to just let them be for a minute. And I'm going to get me a pair of gloves on. I'm going to take my chicken over and I'm going to start pulling my chicken. So I'm going to pause y'all for a minute so I can go get my gloves and stuff. Alright, look. Wait, you can't look. Alright, see how it's starting to boil again? I want to turn down. Look, I already turned it down some. I'm turning this down some more because I don't want this to boil this hard. So, I'm going to turn that burner down to maybe low. We just want it to barely simmer so these don't fall apart. Okay? I really probably have more juice in here than I might want to, but it'll work out. It will work out, people. Alright, so I'm going to put you back up here, and I'm going to go ahead and pull that chicken just right here. So, be back in a second. Alright, so all I'm doing is just taking this chicken right off the bone, and these dumplings are almost done. So I'm going to go ahead and just start putting this chicken. Usually I'll like either have another pan sitting here that I pull the chicken into, but because I was videoing, I didn't get right on the chicken. I was kind of showing y'all some stuff, so I didn't have a chance to have it already ready when the dumplings are. So we're going to just go ahead, and I don't like any of them little stringy things in mine, okay? I pull my chicken and I kind of say clean it, but I mean, I don't want skin in my dumplings. I don't want cartilage. I don't want like little stringy pieces of chicken and stuff. I want good, cleaned up, nice pieces of chicken in my dumplings. Okay? So that's what we're doing. And I probably ought to pause y'all so y'all don't really, this video doesn't end up being so daggone long. For y'all just to watch me pull meat off a chicken. Hopefully all y'all know how to do this. So I'm going to try with my gloves on to pause this video, and y'all, and once I'm done here, All right, I turned the pot down again. I've got it like on low, like all the way as low as it'll go, because she still got that low, slow kind of boil to her going on. Okay, so let me see if I can hit this phone without getting my phone all dirty and see if it'll do it. All right, so I've pulled the chicken off the bone, and what I did was I only pulled off the dark meat, the wings, and the back. I'm gonna look in here because I think this is enough chicken. The chicken sometimes sinks to the bottom. Can you see how it's kind of, the juice is kind of thickened up? It's a little bit thinner than we usually have it. But anyway, it's going to thicken up as these sit, especially the next day. They thicken up. If you don't want all this juice, you can take your ladle and just take some of the juice off. Now, what I did was I saved my breast, because there's a lady that shares or comes in and uses our office sometimes. Let me turn this around. She comes in and uses our office sometimes. And when I came in last week, let me see if I can put y'all back up there for a minute. So we got all right. So when I walked in last week, she does some inventory and stuff in our building. She used to be next door, and they closed that, but she still has to do inventory. It was the old Sears repair, and now they all work from home, but she comes in and has to do things with their trucks and stuff like that. But anyway, she says, "Oh man, I thought when you came in today you was going to be bringing some chicken salad." I said, "I ain't got no chicken salad, Tangy, but I said, next time I come, I'll bring it." She said, "Well, I'm going to be here on Tuesday, so I'm going to take those breasts over there, and I'm going to make some chicken salad with it and take it to her on Tuesday, so she'll have some." Her husband just recently passed away, like, I think it's been like a month ago, so, or maybe a little bit longer. But anyway, so I'm going to kind of bless her with a little chicken salad, and we got plenty of chicken in here for us. So anyway, y'all, chicken and dumplings are ready. Y'all want us to have a little bit? Y'all want us to have a little taste? See what it's like? Alright. See these dumplings? I'm not going to get much. I want to get cleaned up and all that kind of thing. Let's get us a little spoon. See how they come out? Just little dumplings. Y'all, these dumplings are hot. We'll be getting ready to burn my tonsils over there. I'm always trying to burn my tonsils for y'all. What the heck's up with that? They're good. Laura's famous chicken and dumplings. As good as always. Alright. I hope y'all have learned how to make a pot of good old-fashioned chicken and dumplings. Remember, Food Line Bacon Mix is the best one. Look, if you don't want to do a whole chicken, which I like to because you need that bone in there. That's what's going to flavor your broth. So sometimes I'll buy like the chicken breasts that are on the bone, just a pack of chicken. If you like breast meat, buy you a pack of chicken breasts. It's like 2 chicken breasts is probably plenty. Or do 4, and after they boil, use 2 for chicken salad or for something else you're going to cook later that week, and put the meat of 2 in here. If you're a dark meat person, buy you some thighs. Legs, it's more, gristle and fat, whatever, cartilage or whatever. So I would go with bone-in thighs if you like dark meat, bone-in breast if you like breast, or the whole chicken. Okay? So again, if you do the whole chicken, you don't need all that meat in there. So I'd save some meat for another meal later in the week. But anyway, y'all have a good night. Thank you for joining me. Make you some chicken and dumplings. Your family will be shocked in awe. Make you some Lori's famous dumplings. Y'all have a good night. Bye-bye. I wanted y'all to see how they look after they've sat for a few minutes and the burner's been turned off. There's no more heat on there. So this is kind of what you get. I did take some of the juice and took some of that juice off because it was a little bit more juice than what we like. So, but you see all those big whole dumplings in there and all that chicken. All right, so this still, all that flour, as they start to cool off, and the next day, they're going to thicken up even more. It's not going to still be this juicy the next day. But that's what the finished product looks like, y'all. A big old pot of chicken and dumplings. All right, Charles is in there eating them now. Let's see what he has to say. Hold on.